Commander Vexthul's 6 eyes watched the glowing screens in front of him. The Zephyrian Deep Space Station floated quietly at the edge of the Andorian Nebula, far from any major star system. For 12 years, he had watched this empty part of space. Nothing ever happened here. That was the point. The station was built to watch for threats, dangerous aliens, unknown weapons, strange ships from places no one had explored yet. But in 12 years, Vexthul had seen nothing more exciting than space rocks and old comets. Today felt different. The main sensor started beeping. Vexthul's assistant, a young Tellurian named Dr. Kira-san, looked up from her research station. Her blue skin turned pale as she read the numbers on her screen. "Commander," she said in a quiet voice, "we have something big coming our way." Vexthul moved his large body over to her station. His clawed hands danced over the controls. The readings made no sense. Something massive was moving through space toward them. It was still far away, but the energy signature was enormous. "How big?" he asked. 3 kilometers long, maybe more," Kira-san replied. "But that's not the strange part." She pressed a few buttons. New information appeared on the screen. Vexthul stared at the data for a long moment. His breathing stopped. "This can't be right," he whispered. The ship was human. Humans were supposed to be stuck in their small corner of the galaxy. They had been given permission to travel to a few nearby systems, but nothing more. The Galactic Council had made sure of that after first contact 50 years ago. Humans were too young, too violent, too unpredictable to be allowed to spread freely through space. But this ship was 2,147 light-years from Earth. That was impossible. "Run the scan again," Vexthul ordered. Kira-san's fingers moved quickly over her controls. The same results came back. Human technology, human power signatures, human metal alloys in the ship's hull. But the design was wrong. This wasn't like any human ship in their database. Those ships were small, basic, built with help from other species. This ship was sleek and deadly. It bristled with weapons that shouldn't exist. Its hull was made from materials that human science shouldn't be able to create. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," Vexthul said. "Tell them we have a situation." Before Kira-san could respond, their communication system came alive. A voice spoke in clear, perfect English. "Zephyrian Station, this is Captain Jake Miller of the USS Harbinger. We're requesting passage through your space." Vexthul and Kira-san looked at each other. The human had contacted them first. That was not normal behavior for someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Vexthul activated the communication link. "Captain Miller, you are in violation of Treaty 247. Human ships are not permitted in this sector." There was a pause. Then the human laughed. It was a warm, friendly sound that made Vexthul's skin crawl. "I think there's been some confusion, Commander. We're just passing through. No harm intended." "Your presence here is impossible," Vexthul said. "Human technology cannot travel this far from Earth." Another pause. When Captain Miller spoke again, his voice had changed. It was still friendly, but there was something harder underneath. "Well, that's where you're wrong. We've been out here for quite a while now. Nice to finally meet some neighbors." The USS Harbinger appeared on their long-range cameras. Vexthul had seen thousands of ships in his career, but nothing like this. The human vessel was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its hull was black as space, covered in smooth armor that seemed to bend light around it. Weapon ports lined its sides like the eyes of a predator. "Captain Miller," Vexthul said, carefully. "Your ship is not in our records. Where was it built?" "That's classified information, Commander, but I can tell you it wasn't built anywhere the Council knows about." Kira-san was frantically sending messages to the Galactic Council headquarters. Her hands shook as she typed. She had studied humans for years. They were supposed to be primitive, barely able to leave their home system without help. This ship proved everything they knew was wrong. "Captain Miller," Vexthul tried again. "I need to report your presence to the Council. Standard procedure." "Go ahead," Miller replied. "Tell them Captain Jake Miller sends his regards. Tell them we'll be seeing a lot more of each other soon." The Harbinger began moving again. It passed, the station slowly, almost casually. As it went by, Vexthul could see smaller ships detaching from its hull. Scout vessels, fighter craft. The main ship was carrying a small fleet inside itself. "Commander," Kirasan whispered, "look at this." She had been scanning the ship's wake, looking for energy signatures. What she found made Vexthul's blood turn cold. The Harbinger's engines left traces of exotic matter, quantum field fluctuations, signs of technology that was decades ahead of anything the Council possessed. "How long have they been out here?" she asked. Before Vexthul could answer, Captain Miller's voice came through the speakers one more time. "Oh, and Commander, you might want to update your star charts. There are a lot of changes you haven't heard about yet." The communication link went dead. The Harbinger disappeared into the nebula, moving faster than any ship its size should be able to travel. Vexthul stood in silence for a long moment. Then he began giving orders, emergency protocols, priority messages to every council member, full sensor records transmitted to the military command. The humans were supposed to be contained. They were supposed to be weak and dependent on council technology. But the USS Harbinger had just proved that everything the galaxy believed about humanity was a lie, and if there was one ship like this, there were probably more. Kirasan looked up from her station. "Commander, I'm reading multiple energy signatures in the nebula. The Harbinger isn't alone." Vexthul closed his eyes. In one day, everything had changed. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted, and none of them had seen it coming. The humans were no longer the primitive species they pretended to be. They were something much more dangerous. They were conquerors. The emergency session hall on Centaurus Prime had never been so crowded. Representatives from 47 different species filled the curved seats. Their voices mixed together in a storm of worry and anger. At the center of it all sat High Chancellor Mordek, his reptilian face showing no emotion. Ambassador Lisa Chen sat in the human section, looking calm despite the chaos around her. She had been Earth's representative to the Galactic Council for 8 years. Today, every alien eye in the room was looking at her with suspicion. "The session will come to order," Mordek announced. His deep voice cut through the noise. The hall fell silent. "We are here because of a serious violation," he continued. "A human warship has been detected in restricted space. This ship appears to possess technology far beyond what humans are supposed to have." Murmurs filled the hall. Ambassador Chen stood up slowly. "High Chancellor, I must protest," she said. "Earth has followed all treaties. We have stayed within our designated areas. If there is a human ship where it shouldn't be, this is news to..." Hadaforthon delegate, his blue tentacles waving in agitation, spoke up. "Then explain how this ship exists. Our experts say it's decades ahead of known human technology." Chen shrugged. "Perhaps your experts are wrong. Or perhaps someone else built a ship to look human." Before anyone could respond, the main communication screen activated. Captain Jake Miller's face appeared larger than life. He was sitting in what looked like a command chair, wearing a simple black uniform. Behind him, other humans worked at stations filled with advanced displays. "Good morning, Council," Miller said with a friendly smile. "I hear you've been talking about me." The hall erupted in shocked voices. Miller shouldn't be able to contact them directly. The Council's communication systems were supposed to be secure. "Captain Miller," Mordek said, trying to maintain control. "You are in violation of multiple treaties. Explain yourself." Miller leaned back in his chair. "Well, Chancellor, I think there's been a misunderstanding. See, those treaties were made with Earth's government, but we're not exactly working for Earth anymore." "What do you mean?" Chen asked. She looked genuinely confused. "I mean, Ambassador, that some of us decided to think bigger. Much bigger." Miller gestured to someone off-screen. A moment later, a holographic display appeared in the center of the council hall. It was a star map, but not like any the council had seen before. Dozens of systems were marked in human colors, systems that were supposed to be empty, systems that were thousands of light years from Earth. "These are human colonies," Miller said casually. "We've been busy for the past 30 years. The silence in the hall was complete. Representatives stared at the map in disbelief. The human expansion was massive. It stretched across a quarter of the galaxy. A Tellurian counselor stood up, her voice shaking. "This is impossible. We would have detected your ships, your colonies." Miller laughed. "Would you? Our stealth technology is pretty good. We've been watching you folks for years without you knowing." Another screen activated. This time it showed Admiral Frank Harrison, an older human with gray hair and stern eyes. He was clearly on Earth in what looked like a military command center. "Admiral Harrison," Mordek said, "are you aware of these unauthorized activities?" Harrison nodded slowly. "I am now, Chancellor. Captain Miller is part of a program that was kept secret from most of Earth's government. We call it the Deep Space Initiative." "Secret from your own government?" a Krillian delegate asked. "Sometimes you have to make hard choices," Harrison replied. "We knew that if we asked permission, the Council would say no, so we didn't ask." Chen looked stunned. "Admiral, I had no idea any of this existed." "That was the point, Ambassador. Your job was to keep the Council happy while we did what needed to be done." Miller's image shifted. Now the screen showed the exterior of his ship, the USS Harbinger. But it wasn't alone anymore. 11 other ships floated nearby, each one as large and advanced as the first. "This is the first expeditionary fleet," Miller announced. "We have others." A small figure appeared on Chen's personal communication device. It was Agent Nina Ross, a human intelligence operative who had been working with the Council for years. She spoke quietly so only Chen could hear. "Play along," Ross whispered. "This is all planned. We need the Council to accept the new reality without fighting." Chen's eyes widened slightly, but she kept her expression neutral. Mordek was studying the star map. "Captain Miller, you claim to have colonies in these systems. Prove it." Miller nodded to someone off-screen. The holographic display changed. Now it showed a living world, green forests, blue oceans, and cities. Human cities with millions of people. "This is New Terra," Miller said. "Population, 4 million humans. It's been there for 15 years. The display changed again. Another world, another human colony, then another. Each one was thriving, advanced, clearly established for years. "How many?" Mordek asked quietly. 47 worlds, Miller replied. 12 star systems under human control. About 50 million colonists total. The numbers hit the Council like a physical blow. 50 million humans living in secret colonies. Advanced technology that made their own ships look primitive. Military forces that had been hiding in plain sight for decades. A Zephyrian counselor stood up angrily. "This is an act of war. You have violated our sovereignty." Miller's expression didn't change. "Have we? Check your records. Those systems were listed as uninhabited. We just moved in and made them better." "But the treaties clearly state," the counselor began. "The treaties limit Earth," Miller interrupted. "They don't say anything about independent human colonies." Admiral Harrison leaned forward on his screen. "The reality is simple, Chancellor. Humanity has grown beyond Earth. We're not the same species you made treaties with 50 years ago. We're something new." Agent Ross continued whispering to Chen. "The Council needs to accept this peacefully. If they fight, more fleets will arrive." Chen stood up again. "High Chancellor, perhaps it's time to discuss new arrangements. The old treaties clearly don't reflect current reality." Miller smiled. "Now you're thinking clearly, Ambassador. We're not here to fight, we're here to negotiate as equals." The word equals hung in the air like a challenge. For 50 years, humans had been the junior partners in galactic civilization. Now they were demanding to be treated as equals to species that had been traveling space for thousands of years. "Captain Miller," Mordek said slowly. "What exactly are you proposing?" "Simple," Miller replied. "Full recognition of human colonies, equal representation on the Council, and free passage for human ships throughout the galaxy." "And if we refuse?" a Vorthan delegate asked. Miller's smile never wavered. "Well, that would be unfortunate, but I don't think it will come to that. You're all reasonable people." The communication screens went dark. The council hall was left in stunned silence. In the space of 1 hour, everything had changed. Humanity was no longer a contained species. They were a galactic power, and they had been hiding in the shadows for 30 years, and now they wanted their place at the table. General Patricia Stone watched the galaxy map from her command center deep inside Asteroid Base 7. The hidden facility had been built 25 years ago, carved into a floating rock that looked like any other piece of space debris. Nobody knew it was there. That was exactly how she wanted it. The map showed red dots appearing across the galaxy. Each dot was a human ship decloaking, revealing itself to alien sensors for the first time. Stone smiled as she counted them. 47 ships total. The aliens had only seen 12 so far. "Ma'am," said her aide, Colonel Rick Hayes, "all units are reporting in. Operation Sunrise is proceeding on schedule." Stone nodded. Operation Sunrise was the plan they had worked on for 15 years, the moment when humanity would stop hiding and announce their true presence to the galaxy. Today was that day. "Send word to all colony administrators," she ordered. "It's time to go public." 3,000 light-years away, colony administrator. Greg Walsh received the message on Kepler 442b. He had been waiting for this day since he first arrived on the planet 8 years ago. The colony of New Haven was home to 2 million humans now. They had built cities, farms, and factories. They had turned a dead world into a garden. Walsh activated the planetary communication system. His voice went out to every human on the planet. "Citizens of New Haven," he announced. "Today we step out of the shadows. Today the galaxy learns what humanity has accomplished." The colonists cheered. They had been living in secret for years, hiding their cities from alien scouts, keeping their communications quiet. Now they could finally show the universe what they had built. On the bridge of the USS Shadowhawk, Commander Beth Turner watched her stealth systems power down. Her ship had been invisible for 6 months, following alien patrol routes and mapping their defenses. Now she was letting them see her for the first time. "Commander," her weapons officer said, "the Krillian cruiser is scanning us. They look confused." Turner smiled. "I imagine they are. We've been sitting 50 meters off their starboard side for 3 hours." The Krillian ship had been conducting routine patrols, never knowing that a human destroyer was watching their every move. The Shadowhawk's stealth technology was so advanced that it could hide a ship even at close range. "Send them a friendly message," Turner ordered. "Tell them we enjoyed watching them work." Back at Asteroid Base 7, General Stone was receiving reports from across the galaxy. Every human colony was going public. Every hidden ship was revealing itself. The scope of human expansion was becoming clear to the alien civilizations for the first time. "General," Colonel Hayes said, "we're getting some interesting reactions from the aliens." Stone looked at the communication reports. Most alien governments were in panic mode. Some were calling for emergency military meetings. Others were trying to figure out how humans had hidden so much for so long. "Any threats?" she asked. "A few. The Vorthan Empire is mobilizing 3 fleets. The Tellurian Republic is demanding we withdraw from their space." Stone wasn't worried. The human colonies were in systems that had been listed as empty or uninhabitable. They had claimed no alien worlds, attacked no alien ships. They had simply moved into space that nobody else wanted. Dr. Sam Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the colony ship New Frontier. The massive vessel was humanity's most advanced terraforming platform. It could turn dead worlds into Earth-like planets in just a few years. Below him, the planet Osiris was changing. The atmosphere was becoming breathable. Oceans were forming. Plant life was taking root. In 5 years, this world would support 10 million human colonists. "Doctor," his assistant called, "we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. They want to inspect our terraforming process." Rodriguez laughed. "Tell them they're welcome to watch, but they might not like what they see." The aliens had always struggled with terraforming. It took them centuries to make a world habitable. Humans had solved the problem in just 20 years of secret research. Their technology could reshape entire planets. On the bridge of the USS Harbinger, Captain Jake Miller was coordinating the biggest reveal in human history. Ships were appearing throughout the galaxy, each one carrying a message. Humanity was no longer hiding. "Captain," Lieutenant Amy Brooks said, "we're receiving surrender requests from 6 different alien patrol groups." Miller raised an eyebrow. "Surrender requests?" "Yes, sir. They think we're invading. They don't understand that we're just announcing ourselves." Miller activated the ship's communication system. He sent a message to every alien ship in the sector. "This is Captain Miller of the human fleet. We are not invading. We are simply letting you know we exist. Please continue your normal operations." The response was immediate. Dozens of alien ships began asking questions. How long had humans been in their space? How many ships did they have? What did they want? Miller answered, "Honestly, humans had been exploring for 30 years. They had built colonies on dozens of worlds. They had been watching alien civilizations and learning about the galaxy. They wanted to be recognized as an equal power. General Stone received a priority message from Earth." Admiral Harrison was on the screen looking tired but satisfied. "General," Harrison said, "the Council is demanding answers. They want to know everything about our expansion program." "What do you want to tell them?" Stone asked. "The truth, some of it anyway. They need to understand that this isn't going to stop. Humanity is expanding whether they like it or not." Stone nodded. The secret phase of human expansion was over. Now came the hard part, making the aliens accept the new reality. On New Haven, Greg Walsh was giving a tour to the first alien visitors his colony had ever received. A team of Tellurian scientists had arrived to study human terraforming techniques. They were amazed by what they saw. "Your cities are remarkable," Dr. Kira-san said. She was the same Tellurian who had first detected the Harbinger. "How did you build so much so quickly?" Walsh smiled. "Humans are good at building things. We always have been." The tour continued through the city center. The aliens saw human families, human schools, human businesses. This wasn't a military base or a temporary settlement. This was a real civilization. "How many worlds like this do you have?" Dr. Kira-san asked. 47, Walsh replied. So far. The number shocked the alien visitors. 47 functioning human colonies, each with millions of people. The scope of the secret expansion was beyond anything they had imagined. Back on the Harbinger, Captain Miller received a message that made him smile. It was from Colony Administrator Sarah Kim on the World of Prosperity. "Captain," the message said, "the local alien government just offered to buy our farming equipment. They want to know if we're interested in trade agreements." Miller laughed. The aliens were already adapting to the new reality. Instead of fighting the human expansion, some of them were looking for ways to benefit from it. "Send word to all colonies," Miller ordered. "We're open for business." The galaxy was about to learn that humans weren't just good at hiding and building. They were also very good at making deals. Operation Sunrise was complete. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy. The question now was, what would the galaxy do about it? The answer would determine the future of both humans and aliens for generations to come. Fleet Admiral Kevin Davis stood on the bridge of the USS Dominion, watching the alien fleet approach through the main viewport. The massive human dreadnought was 10 kilometers long, twice the size of any ship the Galactic Council had ever built. Its black hull gleamed with energy shields that bent light around its edges. "Admiral," Captain Rachel Montgomery said from her tactical station, 15 alien ships approaching. They're maintaining defensive formation but not targeting us." Davis nodded. The aliens had requested this meeting in the neutral zone after 3 weeks of panic following humanity's revelation. They wanted to see human military power for themselves. Davis was happy to show them. "Open a channel to the alien fleet," he ordered. The face of Chancellor Mordek appeared on the main screen. The reptilian leader looked tired and worried. Behind him, Davis could see representatives from a dozen different species. "Admiral Davis," Mordek said carefully, "thank you for agreeing to this demonstration. The Council needs to understand what humanity is capable of." "Of course, Chancellor," Davis replied with a friendly smile. We believe in being honest with our neighbors. Dr. Tony Martinez stepped forward from his position near the science station. The human xenopsychologist had been studying alien species for 15 years, analyzing their strengths and weaknesses. His research had helped plan this entire operation. Chancellor, Martinez said, before we begin, I should mention that we've been studying Galactic Council military tactics for quite some time. We know exactly how your ships work. The statement sent a chill through the alien fleet. If humans had been watching them secretly for years, they knew everything about alien weaknesses. Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos stood in the Dominion's main hangar bay, watching her Marines prepare for the demonstration. Each soldier wore powered armor that made them look like metal giants. Their weapons could punch through starship hulls. Colonel, her sergeant said, the alien observers are ready to board. Santos nodded. Send them over. Let them see what human soldiers look like. A transport shuttle carried alien military observers to the Dominion. They were led through corridors that seemed impossibly advanced. The ship's artificial gravity was perfect. Its life support systems were silent and efficient. Everything about the vessel spoke of technology far ahead of their own. The aliens were brought to an observation deck where they could watch the demonstration safely. Admiral Davis joined them, along with Dr. Martinez and Ambassador Helen Foster, humanities senior diplomat. Gentlemen, Davis announced, today you'll see what human military technology can accomplish. The demonstration began with target practice. The Dominion's main guns fired at a series of abandoned space stations that had been set up as targets. The alien observers watched in silence as the human weapons completely destroyed each target, with single shots. Our particle beams operate at 97% efficiency, Captain Montgomery explained. Most alien weapons are around 60%. But the real shock came when the Dominion demonstrated its gravity manipulation systems. The massive ship began generating artificial gravity wells around itself. Space itself bent and twisted, creating invisible barriers that could stop enemy ships or crush them completely. This is impossible, whispered a Vorthan military observer. No species has mastered gravity control, Dr. Martinez smiled. Humans have always been good at solving impossible problems. The alien observers were then taken to see the ship's manufacturing bays. Automated systems were building new fighters and weapons while they watched. The Dominion could repair itself and even build new ships without returning to port. How many ships like this do you have? Asked a Tellurian admiral. This is the first of 12, Davis replied casually. The others are still under construction. The number hit the aliens like a physical blow. 12 ships like the Dominion would be more powerful than the entire Galactic Council fleet combined. Colonel Santos began her part of the demonstration by showing the aliens a squad of human Marines in combat armor. The soldiers moved with impossible speed and precision. Their weapons could switch between different types of ammunition instantly. Our Marines can operate in any environment, Santos explained. Vacuum, high gravity, toxic atmosphere, underwater. The armor provides complete protection and enhances physical abilities by a factor of 10. One of the Marines demonstrated by lifting a piece of equipment that weighed 2 tons. Another showed how the armor's built-in medical systems could heal injuries in minutes. Ambassador Foster stepped forward to address the alien observers directly. Her job was to manage the political implications of what they were seeing. The Council should understand, she said smoothly, that humanity prefers peaceful solutions, but we're prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. The message was clear. Humans wanted to negotiate, but they had the power to fight if diplomacy failed. Dr. Martinez activated a holographic display that showed detailed information about every major alien species, military capabilities, economic systems, political structures, even psychological profiles of key leaders. We've been studying you for a long time, he said. We know how your governments work, how your militaries operate, what motivates your people. We understand you better than you understand yourselves. The alien observers looked at the data with growing horror. Humans had been watching them for decades, learning their secrets, preparing for this moment. Captain Montgomery demonstrated the Dominion's defensive systems next, energy shields that could absorb weapons fire and convert it into power for the ship. point defense systems that could destroy thousands of incoming missiles simultaneously, armor that could repair itself, even during battle. "Your most powerful weapons wouldn't even scratch our hull," she said matter-of-factly. The final demonstration was the most impressive. Admiral Davis ordered the Dominion to create a miniature star. The ship's fusion systems generated a ball of plasma that burned brighter than a small sun. It floated in space for several minutes before being safely contained. "We can create stars," Davis said simply. "Or destroy them, if necessary." The alien observers stood in stunned silence. They had come to evaluate human military power. Instead, they had discovered that humanity possessed technology that seemed almost magical. Chancellor Mordek's image appeared on the communication screen again. His expression showed a mixture of awe and fear. "Admiral Davis," he said quietly, "the Council needs time to discuss what we've seen today." "Of course, Chancellor. Take all the time you need, but remember, we're not your enemies, we're your new partners." Ambassador Foster stepped forward. "The Council has a choice to make. We can work together as equals, sharing technology and resources. Or we can continue as we are, with humanity expanding regardless of Council approval." "What are you offering?" Mordek asked. "Full partnership," Foster replied. "Equal representation on the Council, shared defense agreements, trade partnerships that benefit everyone. And if we refuse?" Foster's smile never wavered. "Then, humanity will continue to expand on its own. We'll build our own trade networks, our own defense systems, our own galactic civilization, with or without the Council's permission." The alien observers were escorted back to their ships, carrying with them the knowledge that the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity was no longer the junior species they could control and manipulate. As the alien fleet departed, Admiral Davis watched them go with satisfaction. The demonstration had achieved its purpose. The aliens now understood that resistance was futile. Dr. Martinez approached the Admiral with a report. "Sir, we're receiving communications from 17 different alien governments. They're all requesting private meetings to discuss cooperation agreements." Davis smiled. "Excellent. It seems our neighbors are learning to adapt." Colonel Santos joined them on the bridge. "Admiral, should we prepare for military action? Some of the alien species might choose to fight rather than negotiate." "Let them try," Davis replied. "They've seen what one human ship can do. Imagine what our entire fleet is capable of." The USS Dominion began its journey back to human space, leaving the alien fleet to contemplate their future. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted completely. Humanity was no longer asking for permission, they were giving orders. President Ellen Murphy walked into the rebuilt Galactic Council chambers with confidence. 6 months had passed since humanity revealed itself to the galaxy. The old chamber had been too small for the new reality, so they built a bigger one. The human section now occupied the center position, with alien representatives arranged around them. Murphy was the first human to hold the office of Council President. The other species had voted for her after their own governments realized they needed human cooperation to survive in the new galaxy. It wasn't really a choice. It was acceptance of facts. "The session will come to order," Murphy announced. Her voice carried easily through the chamber's new sound system, built with human technology. "Today we'll discuss the integration of the Helix sector into our joint defense network." General Scott Anderson sat at the military advisors' table, reviewing reports from across the galaxy. The human officer now oversaw all Council military operations. His recommendations had become orders that alien fleets followed without question. "Madam President," a Vorthan representative said, "my government is concerned about the cost of these defense upgrades. Our economy cannot support such expenses." Murphy smiled kindly. "That's why we're implementing the new trade agreements. Human technology will make your industries more efficient. The increased profits will easily cover defense costs." It was true, but it was also a trap. The aliens were becoming dependent on human technology for everything. Their old systems seemed primitive compared to what humanity offered. Soon they wouldn't be able to function without human support. Ambassador Lisa Chen, now serving as Secretary of Interspecies Affairs, stood to address the chamber. Her job had changed completely since the revelation. Instead of begging for alien approval, she now managed their integration into the human sphere. The colony integration program is proceeding smoothly, Chen reported. 47 former alien outposts have requested to join human administrative zones. They cite better infrastructure and economic opportunities. The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably. Their own colonies were abandoning them to join human territory. The humans offered better technology, better protection, and better living standards. Why would anyone choose to stay with the old system? Admiral Jake Miller appeared on the main communication screen from his flagship. He had been promoted to command the Joint Patrol Fleet, a mixed force of human and alien ships that maintained order throughout the galaxy. Madam President, Miller reported, the patrol exercises in the Outer Rim are complete. All participating species performed adequately under human command structure. Any resistance? Murphy asked. None worth mentioning. The Krillians needed some adjustment time, but they're adapting well to our tactical doctrine. The message was clear. Alien military forces now operated under human command. They followed human strategies and used human technology. The old independent fleets had been absorbed into a single force controlled from Earth. Dr. Amanda Price entered the chamber carrying a data pad full of research reports. She led the Joint Scientific Initiative, a program that was supposed to share technology between humans and aliens. In reality, it was mostly humans teaching aliens how to use advanced systems. Madam President, Price announced, the terraforming project on Cygnus 7 is complete. The Tellurian colonists are reporting excellent results with human atmospheric processors. Excellent, Murphy replied. How many worlds are now using our terraforming systems? 112, with another 43 requesting conversion. The numbers told the story. Human technology was spreading throughout the galaxy like a virus. Every world that adopted human systems became more dependent on human support. Eventually, they would all be part of the human sphere of influence. A Zephyrian counselor stood up nervously. Madam President, some of our member worlds are concerned about maintaining their cultural independence under the new system. Murphy's expression didn't change. Of course, cultural diversity is important to us, as long as local customs don't interfere with galactic security or economic efficiency. The qualifier made the promise meaningless. Anything that disagreed with human policy could be labeled a security threat or economic problem. The aliens were learning that independence was no longer an option. General Anderson received a priority message from Earth Command. He read it quickly, then leaned over to whisper something to President Murphy. Her eyes lit up with satisfaction. Ladies and gentlemen, Murphy announced, I have good news. The Deep Space Exploration Fleet has discovered 17 new habitable worlds in the Andromeda approach. Colonization missions will begin immediately. The alien representatives looked at each other with worry. 17 new worlds meant millions more humans spreading through space. The balance was shifting further away from alien control with each passing month. Ambassador Chen activated a holographic display showing the new worlds. They were beautiful planets with perfect conditions for human settlement. But they were also thousands of light years beyond current galactic borders. How do you have ships that can reach Andromeda? A Tellurian delegate asked. Our technology has improved significantly, Chen replied smoothly. We're always pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The truth was more complex. Humans had been developing faster-than-light technology in secret for decades. They could now travel distances that would take alien ships centuries to cover. The galaxy was becoming smaller every day, and humans were filling it up. Admiral Miller's image changed to show the exterior of his flagship, but it wasn't alone anymore. The Joint Patrol Fleet had grown to include over 300 ships. Most of them were human-built vessels operated by mixed crews. The fleet is ready for extended operations, Miller reported. We can maintain order in any system within 50,000 light-years of Earth. 50,000 light-years covered most of the known galaxy. Human influence now reached everywhere that mattered. Dr. Price began distributing reports about the latest technological developments. New fusion systems that could power entire star systems. Medical technology that could extend alien lifespans by centuries. manufacturing systems that could build starships in days instead of years. All of this technology is available to council members, Price explained. We believe in sharing our advances with our partners, but the technology came with conditions. Species that accepted human tech had to follow human regulations. They had to allow human oversight of their governments. They had to accept human military protection. It was a golden cage, but it was still a cage. President Murphy stood to address the chamber for the final time that day. 6 months ago, this council saw humanity as a threat to galactic stability. Today we work together as partners toward a common future. What kind of future? Asked a Vorthon representative. A peaceful one, Murphy replied. A prosperous one. A future where every species has a place in our expanding civilization. Your expanding civilization, the Vorthon corrected. Murphy smiled. Of course, someone has to lead. Humans have proven we're capable of the responsibility. The session ended with the usual votes and formalities, but everyone in the chamber understood the real situation. The Galactic Council still existed, but it was now just a branch of human government. The aliens could participate or be left behind, but they couldn't stop the change. As the representatives filed out, Murphy remained behind with her human advisors. General Anderson spread out a new star chart showing planned expansion routes. Chen reviewed diplomatic reports from species requesting to join the human sphere. Dr. Price calculated resource requirements for the next wave of colonies. How long? Before we control the entire galaxy? Anderson asked. Murphy studied the charts. At current expansion rates, maybe 50 years for complete integration, but we're already the dominant power. Any species still causing problems? Chen asked. A few holdouts in the outer rim, but they'll come around when they see what their neighbors are gaining from cooperation. Dr. Price looked up from her calculations. The new faster-than-light drives will cut expansion time in half. We could reach the galactic edge in 20 years. Murphy nodded with satisfaction. Then we start looking at nearby galaxies. The universe is a big place, and humanity has a lot of growing to do. The three humans continued planning humanity's future while the rest of the galaxy adapted to their new reality. The age of alien dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun, and it was just getting started.